Hey guys, Toxic here with another episode of Rage Hammer. Well, formerly known as Shame or Fame Hammer, but that was a pilot episode. Things fucking changed, so we're gonna just call it Rage Hammer now, and it's just gonna be Savage and myself having a little sit down, a little chit chat, talking about some things, and like we said back in the first episode, we may use some language that is inappropriate for children and your mother. So
Especially your mother. Do not let your mother watch this show.
yeah, so this is a little bit more inappropriate for an Allies Index show, so if you're a little bit used to our other stuff, keep that in mind. But we're not going to dwell on that too much. We'll just move straight into it. So, Shame Hammer was more of just kind of shaming out things in the hobby. We're probably going to add this into this show still, but we're going to just talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. Rage a little bit. Also spread a little bit of joy. But apparently, it's more funny when we rage out. I'm looking at you, Seb. So, how are you doing so far today, Mr. Savage?
Oh, I'm pretty pooped. Had a big day at work. So,
I feel you. But,
yep.
let's do one more thing. This show. Then you can rest.
Maybe. I probably won't.
Yeah, probably not. Hopefully the heist download will be done and we can go play some GTA. But, but 40k wise, hobby wise, what have you been up to?
Well, I painted about I think I got through 10 blood angels for the painting thing that we're doing. I've got like 5 more half done. So we're looking at about like 15 more guys to go fully, and then I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, so in the first episode we were kind of saying that we're going to do a 2,000 point army by the end of March. And I changed my army, so I'm going Grey Knights instead of Tyranids. I have a box of 15 Grey Knights here, they're all undercoated, ready to paint. And I finished this guy. The old, Dread Knight, that's his name. Mini-Bat.
Fucking mini bat. Oh man.
You want to talk about Mini-Bat?
Oh, we could talk about mini bat.
So, we used to go to Games Workshop Broad Beach quite a lot. And there was a certain Games Workshop employee there that liked to show off models by, I guess, just going, and kind of like just
No,
throwing
it
them
was
at your
for,
face. Yeah, but like he did that with other stuff as well. He just kind of like throw it in your face. But then like Mini-Bat has like the sound effects. It was like your storm telling with the wings.
Oh yeah.
Because that's where you started doing it to people.
Oh my god, do you remember the mini-me?
Mini-Me?
Yeah, of Kristen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that was funny.
But anything in particular that you want to talk about today? You want Blood Angels,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I was gonna just talk about having Death Company as like a whole army sort of thing. So, like, whether it's viable to take just Death Company and have like what's it called?
Unbound?
Yeah, Unbound.
Sorry, everyone, but Savage is very inept at 7th edition right now.
Yeah.
You played
Behind in the times.
You played a game the other day, a 6th edition game.
Yeah, it's in 6th edition. What I hadn't. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
You don't
I
have
have
the
not
rules.
played enough games in 6th edition. to move on to seventh edition.
You don't have the rules for 7th edition to start with.
Yeah, yeah, that helps as well.
So, thoughts on Death Company?
Yeah, I was going to see what you reckon about like Unbound versus Combined Arms.
I think Unbound is completely fine. It's not broken, which a lot of people think it is. In fact, combined arms is definitely the way to go if you can make it work, because objective secured. For those of you that don't know, if you make a combined arms list, which is the standard force org that everyone knows and loves, you get objective secured, which gives your troops get objective secured, which means that they take precedence over anyone else on an objective. So, if they're on objective, you cannot contest it if you're, because everyone can capture, not just troops now, but if you have objective secured, then you take precedence over anyone else taking that objective. So you basically have to wipe the unit off the objective to capture it. That's why combined arms is so much of a huge thing. So, like, in knowing that, does that change your mind on going Unbound?
Not really, because I mean, I don't know. Whenever I play objective games, I kind of get sidetracked and just try to wipe everything. But that's mainly because I play mostly close combat armies anyway. So I mean, I never really try and capture objectives. I guess just more try to stop people capturing them.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, you send a close combat unit to an objective, you're probably going to wipe out the objective one way or another. It's close combat. It ends one way or another with one person being dead.
Yeah.
So, I think the objective secure really comes down to fast-moving things like bikes and jet bikes that can just zip up, the end of the turn, sit on your objective and be like, oh, I take that now.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes fucking annoying. And in saying that, if you think about it, Combined Arms is almost more annoying than Unbound is. Like, well, what people thought Unbound would be. Because people thought Unbound was going to be the annoying kind of, oh, here's the guy with fucking 9 Riptides. I've never seen that happen, ever. Like, I've never ever seen that happen. No one does that. That's the thing. Oh, people are going to bring fucking 3 Dreadknights and 9 Riptides. And it's like, well, where are these people? Did they fucking show up? No, they didn't show up. But you'll run around with your combined force, fucking standing on my objectives and being like, mine now, mine now, mine now. Now who's the annoying one?
I think Unbound gives you the freedom more than anything to do like what people have wanted to do for a while. I mean, that's like looking at the new codexes that come out too, like Blood Angels, how Assault Marines and Death Company Dread aren't troop anymore.
Yeah.
But you have Unbound, so you can still
play
still
the
same way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's no difference to it whatsoever.
There's
so.
absolutely no change. Like, you get the codex and have a little cry because, like, your guys aren't troops anymore. Oh, Games Workshop did this, so I have to buy a whole new army. No, just play Unbound, because that's what you're meant to do. That's the whole point. Play Unbound. That's the whole point. Or wait for, like, a detachment, because I'm sure that there's going to be a formation or a detachment or something that's going to eventually come out that allows, like, for, 6 fast attacks in the HQ or some shit like that. I mean, that's the whole point, really. Like, that's why, like, those things that go in the way of the dodo, like, there's no need for that to be a thing anymore, because you can just do it.
Yeah.
Why does there have to be a rule saying that anymore? Just do it. And this goes back to last episode. The reason why people give so much of a shit is because tournament organizers restrict games of, saying you have to have combined arms. You can only bring one other detachment apart from, your first one. You can't go Unbound. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Why not?
Yeah, but that's not the rules. The rules say that I can do whatever the fuck I want. Look right here. Games
Yeah.
Workshop says I can do whatever the fuck I want. There's a letter from my Games Workshop saying I can do whatever the fuck I want. And just push their models off the table.
Well, the thing as well is fucking. I think I said this last episode is fucking 40k has not been a tournament game since 5th edition. Even then, that was
Yeah, even then it was
iffy. Iffy. Wait, no, I'm thinking of 4th edition.
Games Workshop hasn't supported tournaments
Yeah, they never.
since
Yeah,
like
they never support tournaments.
they did for a while. They had their own like tournaments and stuff like that, where they had like prize support and stuff. But they don't do it anymore. And if a Games Workshop store has a tournament, it's just to get you to buy shit. Like all the ones that we did at the Games Workshop store we went to, it was just to get you to buy shit. It'd be like, oh, we're running a tournament. It's based on this, so you should buy one of these, and then you get entered into it.
Yeah, like the fucking where the mini bat came from. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we're doing Chaos Marines versus Space Marines. Every person gets to pick a chapter. Oh, you pick Night Lords. Oh, get some Sanguinary Guard, and then get the Raptors from Chaos, and then get these guys as well.
Yep. Yeah, it was like, oh, you can bring a super heavy, but it has to be painted up in your colors.
Yeah.
I think in like the 1 week they sold like 5 Baneblades at that store.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I brought one. It was like 4 or 3. Because I brought one. What's his name? Eddie brought one. Oh man, Blake brought one.
Like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure another person, the guy that played Blood Angels with that monstrosity fucking Blood Angels one with all the rules that he added and everything. You remember that? He had like las cannon sponsons all over it, and like he had the Space Marine tank commander sitting on the top of it, and like Kristen allowed all these rules for him to be able to do all this crazy shit with it.
Oh, I think I remember that
And
now.
it pissed off the Chaos side because we were kind of more serious in the game.
Yeah, because it's pretty much like the more experienced players against the noobs, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Noobs that have money and the experienced players that fucking just know what to actually bring.
Which that could actually bring us into what I'm going to be bringing up for Shamehammer for this week. Brought to us by the almighty Seb of Allies Index. It's actually a two-parter. One is what Seb brought to us, and one I didn't get pictures for, but I can definitely describe it well enough. So here we go, and this is how far is too far when it comes to proxying? Now, I'm showing a picture right now. It has a unit of these beetle-looking things, a huge unit of pink horrors, this heraldy thing of Zinch, and then some plague bearers, and some zombies. Now, if I showed you this picture, obviously you can't see it, but I think you know the one.
I'll pull up. I think I should still be able to find the article.
Yeah. So if you look at the plague bearers and the zombies, if you did not read that article, that unit of zombies and plague bearers, what would that unit be to you?
Bullshit.
Well, you'd think it's a unit of plague bearers. Like, okay, you
Yeah.
have the plague bearers, then you have the zombies. Close enough to plague bearers, minus their fantasy fucking square bases. No, this is Seb's pink horrors right there. And those big beetle things, I'm pretty sure they're meant to be as screamers. Granted, those ones are not as bad. You know, because there's a difference between proxying a different model that looks somewhat like it could be that, and then just proxying straight up another model. Okay, and now there's people out there probably watching right now thinking, oh, that's not too bad, you know, he just ran out of pink horrors to summon. He ran out of pink horrors to summon, so he had to use some of his other demons. Well, now I'm going to bring up this picture. Now,
Which one are we?
next to
Which one
that,
are we?
the one with like the Demon Prince thing, Abaddon, those beetles, and then the fucking Contempt of Dreadnought. So next was Demon Prince looking thing there. You have a Contempt of Dreadnought. Savage. If you see a Contempt of Dreadnought on the field, what is a Contempt of Dreadnought to you? What is a contempted dreadnought to you when you see a contempted dreadnought on the field?
It could be proxying a normal dreadnought.
It could be proxying a normal dreadnought. Exactly. That's a Lord of... I mean, what is a Lord of Change? Is that what it's called? Something like that. The Zinch Greater Demon, I think. That's what that is.
No.
Aren't these rules that out there that say, like, you can summon these guys, but you gotta have the models? Is that a rule still, or is it just like, does the rule state, like, you could summon this and just put a dreadnought down the field?
I think I'm gonna play my Wraith Knight as my Herald next.
Seb, you brought this on yourself, buddy. How far is too far when it comes to proxy, though?
I think it should adequately represent the model, like base size and even like size of the model. Like,
okay, but what about its physical appearance, its aesthetics? Like, that should represent it too?
yeah, it should represent it to an extent. I mean, like,
So, Plague Bearers in replace of Pink Horrors. In a stretch, okay?
yeah,
Yeah, okay, I can agree there. I can agree there. Contempted Dreadnought?
no, that's too far. I think.
Yeah.
I think. I'm sorry, Sam, but it's not. It's just not right. Alright, where I'm still trying to find this summoning.
Won't be in your 6th edition thing.
This is the
Oh.
Demon's Code.
Yeah, but 7th edition is where the summoning comes from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
fucking get with the times.
get with the fucking times. But,
Fuck. Oh.
but let's talk a
Wait,
little bit...
so this isn't the codex
Hang
I
on.
should be using?
Let me bring it up. No, show it again. You went on screen. No, that is not the codex that you should be using.
Shit.
But, that was... I mean, we're really not, giving Zed too much of a hard time, because obviously we know he's just kind of testing out models there. But,
Yeah.
you know...
That's where it's... I think it's... Like, because he's at his own place. Yeah. He's just testing out models that he hasn't really used before. So I don't find it overly... Like, if you're at your own place and you're testing out models that you don't have, and you want to see what they're like before you actually lay down the money for it, I find it's fine to proxy it. Like, Contemptor, yeah, it's still a bit far, but I mean, it's
for
still
one
the
or two
same
games,
sort of size.
you know, 1 or 2
Yeah.
games, you know, why not?
But it's the people that take that to
Games Workshop,
like Games
or
Workshop
your
or
local
something
store.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
and play a game with models that don't really represent anything at all, and it's more frustrating and disappointing.
Yeah, it's
Like,
disappointing. It's fucking disappointing. You put a lot of effort into your army, painting it up,
Yeah.
buying the right models, doing appropriate conversions, and then some goofball on the other side of the field is playing a Contempted Dreadnought as a Lord of Change.
Exactly.
I mean, what's the worst kind of in your experiences? What's the worst proxy that you've seen?
I'm trying to remember the one. There was one at Games Workshop one time that we were there, and it was pretty fucking bad. I can't remember what it was though.
There's been some pretty bad ones. Honestly, like, I hate playing against people that drop a drop pod down, and then out of the drop pod is 4 tactical marines from the Black Reach starter set with one captain, and they're like, those 4 marines are stern guard. They all got combi melters and whatnot. You're like, go fuck yourself, you little cunt. Like,
Yeah.
and I say little cunt because it's probably a kid doing this, but no fucking excuse. Like,
Yeah. Well,
sure, you say to me, oh, but Toxic is just the gun. It's still a Marine. It doesn't matter. I don't bring stuff to to Games Workshop where I'm going out and I'm versing people that I don't know. They're not my friends. I don't fucking know them.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing up these tactical marines and saying they're stern guard with combi melters and God knows what. This guy has a power fist. No, he doesn't. His two hands are on his fucking bolter. I'm not doing that. You can't do that with people you don't know. It's just not. It just confuses the game for one. And it's like I said, it's disappointing. It's disrespectful.
Yeah. It's bottom line is if you're at home with friends, go for it. You're just trying out models, whatever. No harm done. If you're gonna take it somewhere, you should have the fucking models, really. Like,
especially at Games Workshop. You don't proxy in a Games Workshop. They let you play there because you buy models from there. You don't proxy stuff because you're meant to buy the model. You don't go in and say, "This is my Stone Guard." Look behind you, dickhead! There's a box of Stone Guard on the shelf!
Oh, fucking hell. You're hilarious.
Well, it's the truth. I mean...
It is.
You paid, like, what, $100 and something for 5 guys to make them appropriate to play? Your Night Lords?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think I bought 3 kits. Yeah, no, it was a box of the Finecast Raptors before we got, like, the Raptor Warp Talent kit. A box of Gargoyles, so I could use the wings from them to attach to the backpacks of the Sanguinary Guard, which I used their jump packs because you could clip wings into them.
So it's like 150? Is that
something like that? I can add it up and
it'd be even
very
more
disappointed.
Now. I mean, it'd be a lot more now. That was like that was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. That was a long time ago, but yeah. I mean,
yeah, something like that.
Granted, I mean, kids, they don't have a lot of money to buy these units, but make your list from the models that you have. Get good with the models that you have. If you have to cut the points down and play 500, play 1,000, it's better to play like that than to have all these proxies, especially when you're playing at a place that wants you to buy models from them.
I really think the kids just should play. Really. Or, at least, like, because Games Workshop knows, as a whole, that there are a lot of kids that go there all the time. If they could, like, I don't know, they're, like, not force them to verse each other, but kind of keep them...
But keep them in their own little room with one little table, very minimum terrain.
just secluded, because, like, I understand it's just fun and game, like, it's fun for them, but, like, it's still fun for me, but I like to be a bit more serious about what I'm bringing to the table, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's... Granted, like, where we played, there was no local store, like, independent stockers. There was nowhere else to play except for Games Workshop. So it was nearly evenly split, 50-50, with like the mature kind of veterans and then the young gun kids kind of thing. It was pretty evenly split to the most part. However, on weekends the kids showed up on force because the older guys were at work. I was lucky. I had Saturdays and for the most part Sundays off, so I could go in there and be there on those days. But for the most part, like, you worked on Saturdays, we went in on Sundays sometimes, but because I had to work at night, we usually left fairly early. It's a touchy subject because obviously we want these kids to play and we want them to be involved in it and we want them to enjoy the hobby as well, because that's how you grow the hobby and that's how you make sure that the hobby's around for years and years to come. But if you're an adult and you're letting your kid go to this store like this, make sure that they have some fucking respect for people. Like that, this Games Workshop is not a daycare center to babysit your kids. This
that
is
was
where
the biggest thing.
Yeah,
biggest thing was parents would just drop their kids off and palm them off to the guy that worked there, and he'd run them through like a painting. Like a mini painting or assembly session or whatever it was, and then like a mini game with like the Black Reach or Dark Vengeance set that was out. So he'd be tied up for like half an hour with these kids as well.
Yeah, so then...
And
Yeah.
it pulls him away from the people that are actually there.
And regulating what's
regulars.
going on as well, because you have the kids that are just showing up for like the painting thing, the starter game, but then you have the kids that are there every weekend that have their army, that their parents just drop them off and say, pick you up when the store closes, have fun, and it's just kids that just stand around. There was 2 tables at this fucking place, 2 tables, and it was just kids piled around them waiting for a game, and like you would spend all day waiting for one game, and when you finally had your game, you're going up against some snot-nosed brat that has no respect for you, no respect for the game. His model collection is full of proxied units, bit bashed to... This is what I want to go over next, but just bit bashed like crazy, doesn't follow the rules very well, isn't precise with movements, shooting, line of sight, anything like that. And you're like, well, this is a waste of fucking time. Why did I fucking come in here and play a game? You know?
I think we were mediators half of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, showing people the rules, and it's like, eventually you feel like you've been working there for the whole day. You know? Where's my check, Games Workshop? You know? And it's like, I don't mind some of the kids that were there. In fact, a lot of them, well, not a lot of them, but, some of them still do keep in contact with me. That's another thing. Don't tell them your name, because they'll just find you on Facebook in like 2 seconds. But, yeah, and they still keep in contact with me, and some of them, while a little bit annoying, had a certain respect for the game and the people that played it. Still annoying, but, there's a little difference. It's just really just about showing respect for your opponent, no matter what their age is. If I'm showing respect for you, show respect for me, and my army, and my models. Don't touch my models without me telling you to touch them.
Oh, that was the worst.
Without me letting you. Don't put your fingers on them. These are mine. I spent hours painting these. Oh my god, I can't... the times that people are looking at your models and they drop them and the arm falls off and...
Oh,
you're like,
man.
You break my model, I will break you. We don't go to Games Workshop anymore. Yeah.
I just don't go because fucking... I can't put up with the people by myself.
Because when I was there, I was like, calm down. This is gonna be okay. We'll get a game in, and then we'll go back to yours.
We would at least sit down and paint, and assemble, or buy something and assemble it or whatever.
Yeah, and paint. We could talk amongst ourselves and play a game amongst ourselves, and
yeah. But now I just I'm only going there for a game, and I already know I'm not going to enjoy it because I'm either going to get some shitty nosed little brat or some cunt that's playing fucking Eldar. It's just bringing the tournament list to a casual fucking 500-point game.
There is one of those cunts at that store as well.
Yeah, I got a 500-point list. Turn 2 gone. I'm like, well, that was fun.
Yep. Yeah, it's But moving on to the next part that's very close to this is the excessive bit bashes, to the extent there it doesn't make any fucking sense. Bit bashing is fun, taking bits from other kits and some kits and mixing them around and making your own little conversions. It's fun. Everyone loves it. It's part of the hobby. There's a difference though when you go from making your guy have he had a chainsaw. Oh, I'm gonna snap that off and give him a knife, and now he's all sneaky with his knife. A close combat weapon's a close combat weapon. There's a difference though when you have a dreadnought that's armed with a dreadnought close combat weapon, a multi-melter, and then has a fucking heavy bolter shoved on his head. There's a difference. There's a difference when you take guns that a unit doesn't have and just glue it onto your models.
Or a basilisk that has
autocannons on
sitting
the back.
On the railing.
Yeah.
Or is an autocannon?
Yeah, autocannons. 2 autocannons, and then expecting to use it in the game.
Yeah,
you can't use your autocannons.
Yeah.
A basilisk doesn't have autocannons. I understand the joy of making these creations and doing this stuff, but it is very, very frustrating especially when you're
It's
trying to use them against me. That unit doesn't have autocannons. Fuck your mother. Like,
it's to an extent, it's you have your own creativity because you're assembling the models yourself.
yeah, you paid for
But
them. Yeah, do
but
what you want.
at the same time, there's a certain way that they need to be put together. They need to represent what that model actually is and what it has.
Yep.
So, like,
So you
I
can
mean,
play it in a game. If you're not going to play it in a game, do what the fuck you want to it. I don't care, but
Yeah.
if you're bringing it against me, I need to know what it has. I don't read every codex. I don't know what everything has. But, some people... some people don't.
fucking gonna pull your head out of Games Workshop's ass, or you gone past the shoulders now?
There's no way out right now. Lube is like, will not help. I'm done. But no,
You've
no.
just got your feet dangling out the end.
Just my toes just twinkling.
Yeah.
But no. In all serious though, I mean, I've dropped out on reading all the codexes. But in all seriousness though, you have to represent what you're playing, so your opponent knows. It's all very well and good to say this guy is not this, or like that melter gun is a plasma gun, for like maybe one or two guys. But if you're going, that melter gun is a plasma gun, that melter gun is a flamer, that melter gun is a plasma gun too, that one's a missile launcher, no one's gonna keep track of that, and you're gonna confuse your opponent. You're gonna confuse yourself. And don't just glue bits on models and say, oh, they have an autogun now.
Yeah.
Everyone has a difficulty when they first start playing it, kind of understanding the link between the model and the rules. I know I did. When I got my first Land Raider, I just gave it everything. And it has like a little missile launcher, which is actually, I think, meant to be the Hunter Crack missile. I put it on there, I'm like, oh, it's a missile launcher, so it must have a missile launcher. And then I would just use it as a missile launcher on a Land Raider. Obviously, I know now that that's not what it's a Hunter Crack missile, it's a one-use only thing. And I learned that pretty quickly when I started learning how to build a list.
See, I had Necrons, so I didn't have
Yeah.
the opportunity to
Well,
put different shit on everything. It was like this was like fucking 4th edition Necrons, I think.
mm-hmm.
And yeah,
It was like 3rd
I got
edition, but yeah, there's somewhere
oh
around
yeah,
there.
3rd edition. But yeah, it was literally just the Necron Battle Force, and pretty much you used every single piece of sprue.
Yep.
I remember looking at it being like, where's all my spare bits?
Yeah. Well, the difference is, like, my Land Raider came with that missile launcher to put on it. A Dreadnought does not come with a heavy bolter. Sponson. That's from a fucking Predator. and granted, like, everyone goes to this stage with their models where they'll just put bits on it. I mean, Kroot Chaos Marines.
Huh?
Kroot Chaos Marines?
What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. What a fucking idiot whoever did it.
Everyone goes through that stage, and it is fine. And honestly, you do what you enjoy, because that's part of the hobby. You got to enjoy it. But I guess the moral of the story is have a little respect for the people that you're going up against.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna rummage through my bits box quickly because I'm pretty sure I have a bad example of a kit bash. But I admitted defeat with this thing. Oh, it's half broken now. I don't know how well this camera's gonna pick it up. But this is when I was playing mids in I think 5th edition. And it was when they just come out with like the rules for the Tyrannofax in the new codex. I was just trying to kit bash like a gun for it. It actually looks better than what it did now. But it was just like 2 carapaces from a Carnifex and then I think fucking heavy venom cannons or something. I don't know.
I don't have
I
a
think I
problem
had some
with
other
that,
stuff
though.
in there.
Like, if you shoved that on a Carnifex and said, this is my Tyrannofax, I would be like, well, now that there's a Tyrannofax model, I would be like, well, now I'd be like, go fuck yourself. But back before there was a Tyrannofax model, I'd be like, okay, that works. I'll play.
Well, I admitted defeat with it because it did look fairly terrible. and
Yeah,
I didn't think it was adequate for representing the model. I mean, I probably could have got away
mm,
with it, but eh,
yeah. I mean, there's a certain scale that a Tyrannofex has that a Carnifex doesn't.
yeah.
But the one that I remember is the Harpy, that the one kid had at Games Workshop, and it was like the really terrible put together. It was just bits. It had like no torso. It was just like
Oh, I remember this.
some little gargoyle wings, I think, or it was like some
Yeah,
metal wings or something like that. And it was like
yeah. It didn't have the
tail and
wings. Were not.
claws. It had like really no torso. It was just kind of like an extra carapace with like the arms coming off the carapace, and the base was like a plastic wine glass with the cup cut off.
I remember that now.
Yeah,
Oh, that was terrible.
yeah. And it's
And
like
there's
there's a difference between making a conversion to fill in a model that Games Workshop doesn't have, and just getting bits from models you've already brought to make another model out of it. It's like getting a Trigon, cutting it in half, and making one the tail going down into a hole, and one
Oh, I
the
remember
thing going
that.
up out of a hole. Like you can't do that either.
No, that's just a terrible one. That's just calling cheesies. That's like me fucking getting a Space Marine doing the exact same thing. Like, yeah, he's in cover.
Yeah, one, it's him with his legs half dug into a hole, and the other one is his torso dug into a hole.
He's crouching. It's
Yeah,
on the ground.
well, it's like buying a box of like what 10 Necron warriors, cutting their torsos in half, and being like they're reanimating. Half of them are
Yeah.
just the legs, half of them are the torsos.
There's good kit bashing, like the Death Company crossed with the Assault Marine box sets, which I've done
Yeah,
multiple times.
there's a difference between playing on a budget and then just being budget.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got some like Space Marine fucking arms and legs and a few torsos and heads. I just stick them onto bases
What's like some of
and
the
then just
guys?
put them in rubble.
Some of the guys that I have here, like his torso is the Assault Marine torso, because I didn't have any other torsos. So really, he's got straps going around his chest for what's meant to be his backpack. And his like arms and stuff are from other kits, like Space Wolf kits, but his torso and his legs are from an Assault Marine, and this is just made out of bits. But that makes up a full Space Marine. Like it or not, that's a full Space Marine. A Tyranid model with no torso, but legs, arms, and a head is not a full model. Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
I think what kids that are getting into the hobby have to learn is that you are going to meet people in the hobby that do take it seriously because they've been playing it for like decades. I mean, we're getting to the point where we've played this game for a decade. Like, there's a certain serious we take into it because, well, we probably could both be owning houses right now if we didn't play Warhammer.
I love that plastic crack.
Yeah, like there's you have to understand that there's people in there that do take it seriously because they have put a lot of money into it, they put a lot of time, a lot of effort, they get invested in the lore, and granted right now, to you, this is just a little hobby for you to play on weekends and stuff, and that's great, and if you enjoy it, then even better, you know, keep playing the game, get involved in it, you know, play it for years to come, but you have to treat the game the game itself with a little respect. You have to treat your opponents with respect. You have to treat the game itself with respect. You know, your army has to be respectable to a certain standard. Obviously, the paint job may not be the best because it might be your first army, but you definitely have to have a like a sportsmanship, an etiquette. There has to be some sort of etiquette when playing the game. You know, like don't touch your other people's models without asking. You have to ask before you pick up other people's models. It doesn't matter if you just killed them in the assault phase and they're closer to you. You know, say, oh, do you want me to get these models for you? You know, like, take some pride in your army. You know, proxy a little bit, but don't proxy the whole army. If you proxy the unit 1-2 times, don't continue to proxy it. If you like it after 1-2 games, buy it. I mean, it's simple. You just have to understand where you're at in the hobby and where you fit into it. And where you fit in is you're a beginner. And yeah, people will give you some leeway. But don't take that and run with it. You can't do whatever you want.
I mean, when I first started this, first started playing 40k, it was Necrons was my first army, and I got that. I got the Battle Force as a Christmas present from my parents, and I fucking put that all together and painted it up and everything. And I only played with that until I think I then got Chaos, and I just swapped one of my mates because his dad also played, and his dad played Necrons. So I just swapped him for some Chaos stuff. I was playing with his secondhand Chaos stuff, but I never. If I didn't have money to get more models, I didn't play with more models.
Mm-hmm.
If you get what I mean. Like, I would just use what I had. Because I understand it is hard to play 40k without money. But, I mean, you just gotta use what you have.
Yeah,
Really.
and get used to what you have. Get good at what you have, even. There's a difference, though, with playing with your friends and, like, your friend's dad or whatever, than going to a store, playing with a complete stranger and expecting them to understand, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, when I first started playing, I didn't play the game itself. I just had my collection. I had a unit of Grey Hunters, the old Grey Hunters. I had one Space Marine bike. One. So it doesn't even make a unit. You can't even play with it. And then I had 2 scouts. 2 metal Space Wolf scouts. That was my army. 10 Grey Hunters, 1 bike, and 2 metal scouts. Like, that was it. I was reading the rules because I didn't have enough money to buy the rules, so I had to. I actually just printed it all out. Like, I printed out the whole rulebook out.
Oh god.
Yeah,
I did that with the Codex.
and I did the whole thing. I had the codex, but I didn't have the rulebook, and I would read it on my way to school, just going through all this paper. And I didn't play the actual game for probably a couple years after that. But at that point, I'd read the rulebooks and everything, so I kind of a decent idea of how the game worked. And I knew very quickly that my army was not an army because I couldn't make a squad of 1 bike. I couldn't make a squad of 2 scouts. Back then, I'm kind of glad that they only gave you, like, 1 melter, like, 1 flamer or whatever in the squad, because otherwise everyone would have special weapons and shit. Like, that's just how it works. When you first get into it, you don't really read the rules, and you just start giving bits to everyone. Which is fine, but you'll learn very quickly that you fucked up. That you done goofed.
You done fucking goofed, mate.
Mm-hmm. It's very important that, to read and kind of take your time. Everyone's going to want to rush into it, but if you take your time, you're going to be so much better off than what you would if you just jumped in.
The best thing anyone can do getting into the hobby is take the advice of the people that have been in it for a while.
Take their advice, but don't expect them to do everything for you.
Yeah.
You have to, it's your army, you have to take control of it. Get help, seek advice, but you have to get used to doing things for yourself. If you have enough money to, commission someone to paint your army, do it. But honestly, just jump into it. Try painting. Try assembly. Try playing the game. And just take advice from people. Don't jump into a game and expect someone else to play your army. Don't expect someone else to paint your army or assemble your stuff. You gotta get into it and get sucked in yourself.
Yeah. I still fucking ask for advice from buddy. I asked for advice from you. I asked for advice at Games Workshop when I venture in there every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone still needs advice in one sort of part of the hobby.
The game is so huge that there's so many rules and so much fluff, so much strategy, so much tactics that there's always new stuff to learn. Like
Yeah.
so, like you can get advice from whatever. Don't that's another thing that a lot of kids have against them is that a lot of them, especially in this type of hobby, this kind of geeky hobby, is that there are a lot of fucking know-it-alls out there.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
be a fucking know-it-all. Don't act like you know all the fucking rules. Don't act like you know all the rules of my fucking army. It is my
Yeah.
army. Don't act like you know the rules. If you haven't played this army,
Just don't be a pompous dick, really.
there is a lot of them. A lot of them.
There's a lot of them in all aspects of life, though.
Yeah,
That's
but-
the problem.
But a lot. I don't know if it's like stereotyping, but there's a lot more show up in these kind of nerdy, kind of geeky hobbies. I've noticed.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
definitely, because they think that just because they've been doing it for a year, that they know it all.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
This
I've got the rule book. I know everything.
yeah.
Well, you fucking don't, because I just proved you wrong right there.
Yep. Especially, don't tell me what rules my army has.
Yeah,
I'll be the first to admit if I get something wrong. If I done fucked up, my bad. But
Yeah,
if I'm
you need to
playing
be
it
modest.
correctly, don't tell me I'm not.
oh, just don't be negative, really. In general,
Don't be a twat.
yeah, be supportive, because fucking everyone bloody has like a supportive guidance into this hobby. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to understand that if you're new to the hobby that you are new. You don't know everything. You have to go in there and take advice. You have to. Yeah, you kind of gotta. What's the word? Like take your licks or whatever. Like you have to kind of roll with it, and you gotta kind of get. I guess kind of. If you're playing a game, you gotta get beat up a couple times before you start getting better at the game. You gotta understand this going into the game. It's a tough hobby to get into, but once you get into it, you'll be hooked for life.
Yeah.
There's no
By the
going
way,
out
yeah,
once you're in.
I've melted down 40k models and put them in my vaporizer. I can now actually smoke liquid crack.
Plastic crack and a pipe.
Yep.
Vaping it up. But yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to kind of say before we kind of call it quits on this episode?
Just help people when they need it, but don't be arrogant about it. And then if you're the one asking for the help, don't be afraid to help. First of all, ask for help, and don't put stupid shit on your models. For the love of God,
Don't be a
just
cunt.
fucking just it's not that fucking hard, people. It's not that fucking hard.
Yeah, you
I mean, I can be the biggest cunt in the world, but if it comes to like fucking 40k, there's still respect there. But if you're not gonna respect me, then I'm not gonna respect you. It's the bottom line. I'm pretty sure that's how majority of people operate. So if you go into a Games Workshop acting like you know it all, you're gonna find out very, very abruptly
Yep.
that
When,
you
when,
don't know it all.
when I was in there, if like a kid was willing to learn, willing to respect my army, my models, and their self and
Call
their
you
models,
sensei.
yeah, yeah. If a kid's willing to to call me sensei, kinky, then I'm willing to help and offer advice and everything. If you're not, then I would just be very blunt with them. You know, what does this
And make
do?
them piss their pants.
No, it'd be like, what does this do? I'll say, check the rulebook. You know, what does this do? Check your codex. I don't have a codex. We're in Games Workshop. There's fucking open copies. No, but no, like so, you know, I'll just be very blunt. I'll just say, check your codex. Check the rules. You know, wax on, wax off. No, like, but if
You make the shitty chicken.
if they were ready to learn and willing to, then yeah, I'd be like, oh no, this does this. Oh, this is really good in this type of situation. You know?
See, if I because I played a game with my brother the other day again, and like I haven't played in a while, so I had to like relearn myself, and he's only played a handful of games as it is. So, but like, I was trying to help him out as much as I could. So I was like giving him like what he needs to roll for his shooting, what he needs to roll for to hit and to wound, sort of things. But I'd still be making him check the codex to see what his strength is, to see what his ballistic skill is, to see what the range of the gun is, to see what the AP of the gun is. Making him check all that so that they know where the answers are coming from instead of just handing it to them.
Yeah, like it comes to the point where you do want the game to go. You don't want to spend 5 hours on a 1,000-point game. So
Yeah.
like you get to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, that's 2s, that's 3s, that's 4s. But if you're like, if they're like, oh, what do I need? You say like, oh, well, what's your toughness? And they check their toughness, and then you tell them, and let them know, this is where I'm getting this information from.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I've always been a huge thing on is look at the table yourself. I'll tell you during the games because I don't want to wait while you're like, put your
Flipping back and forth.
yeah, put your finger on the table and there's this 3 and go down to 4. Oh, yeah, is this like I don't want to wait for that. I'll just fucking tell you, but I'll tell you where that chart is and you can look that up on your own time.
Yeah.
When it comes to your models though, like I'll be like, yeah, go find your own models rules. But yeah, I think we can kind of pretty much wrap this up.
Yeah.
I think next time we're probably going to be on this topic of how we rank the current codexes in what tiers we would put, top tier, middle tier, or bottom tier armies.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do this now, but that's going to be a lot of information there as well.
Yeah.
So let's just take this one step at a time. But once again, this has been Rage Hammer for Allies Index. With me today has been Savage.
Yo.
I pointed this way, but you're this way on the screen. Like always, I'm Toxic. Remember, if you are watching this on Tumblr, this is from YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel. We could definitely do with your support, so if you could please subscribe, that would be awesome. I'm
Also,
Toxic.
you could.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you could always submit a shameful story or a good story or something that you like in the hobby as a picture or a shameful picture as well.
Or even just
Submit
topics
that.
to talk about, questions,
Yeah.
anything. We could definitely use it.
Submit them to the blog or even comment on the YouTube.
Yep.
On the YouTube.
On the YouTube, just right on the YouTube homepage.
Just comment on YouTube just somewhere, and we will find it. We will find it for you.
We will find you.
Please comment on the video.
And we will kill you. I mean, we will find you, and we will read your comment.
Karen will probably make you piss your pants, but that's just that's how it gets his
Maybe
rocks
we'll talk about that story next time. We'll leave it on there.
off.
I may
Yeah.
or may not have made a kid piss his pants. I say I didn't. Everyone else says I did. So,
Well, you even told me yourself it was streaming out of his pants.
it was, but that doesn't mean I did it.
You were part of the reason.
Okay, yeah, I was part of the reason. Doesn't mean that I did it.
So Savage and Toxic signing off on Rage Hammer.
Yep, and
Tatty bye.
like always, have a good one.